What's going on, everybody? Let's get into this video. I'll be showing you the best teams for the Great League Spring Cup. These will be the top 5. The team I'm using is Weezing, Galarian for lead, Frothorn safe swap, and Lapras as a closer. No matter what you say, I think this is the best team of any format I've ever seen. Therefore, I think you should use it. It's bulky, has great coverage, and is very offensive. Now, I will say, I want to mention one more thing before we move on to the next team. Galarian Weezing, and, well, I just kind of want to talk about the top 10 Pokemon right now in the format. So, Galarian Weezing's number 1, but only by a decimal to Shadow Weezing. And then there's Frothorn coming in 3rd, Lapras coming in 4th, Shadow Frothorn coming in 5th, 6th, Tentacool, 7th, Shadow Abomasnow, 8th, Klefki, which is really good counter to Weezing, and Frothorn's like the best counter to Lapras and Tentacool. So, and then there's an Amunga Shadow, Tentacool Shadow. Yeah, so those are the top 10. Now, the first team, we're going to go over their moves. There's Fairy Wind. Fairy Wind goes as fast as Shadow Claw, which is the move that Feraligatr uses, meaning, and this is the same amount you need to use as Ice Beam and Hydro Cannon. So, pretend you're using Feraligatr and you use 5 of them, right? So it's taking as long as you need to go to a Hydro Cannon, and the Hydro Cannon would be Sludge instead of Hydro Cannon. And then it'd be the same thing with Ice Beam, except Ice Beam's Overheat. But, yeah, that's kind of odd to think of ice as fire in this situation. But, yeah, in Great League and Ultra League, Weezing uses Brutal Swing instead of Overheat, so you might be confused why it's using Overheat. It's because of the Grass, Ice, and the Grass and Ice types, the Grass and Steel types, and the Grass types. Just the Grass types in this cup. So that's why Weezing's using Overheat. But after you use Overheat, you have to switch out, because otherwise it's going to do, like, no damage. Now, for the next Pokemon, we're going to be doing Frothorn. Bullet Seed is super fast charging, and I'm not sure if anybody's ever used Credillia before, but it charges up really fast, and it does a lot of damage. It can also debuff, so Bullet Seed, it's going to go, and you're going to use it 4 times for Power Whip, then 6 times for Flash Cannon. Then, if we look at its stats, look at how bulky it is. And it's got pretty good attack, too. Now, that might be a reason to consider Shadow. Because if I do this, I can do 155.1 minus 20%. That's 124.08, 107.8 plus 20%. So yeah, it goes to like 129 and 124, and another thing stays at 125. So this all goes to like 125-ish. So it's still decently bulky, and it just raises its attack. So it's like, honestly, it might be decent, but I'd keep it as a normal Frothorn. I think it's a bit better. So, after doing that math, I'd keep a normal Frothorn instead. Now, there's Lapras right here. Psywave, it basically does every half a second. Now, I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but this 1 is half a second. This 3 is 1.5 seconds. This 2 is 1 second. Every 1 is half a second. Every number is half a second. So if we were to go to add Incinerate, which it has the highest Do I know how to spell incinerate? Just go to Talon Flame. I thought we had fire. No? If we go to Great League and Talon Flame real quick. Yeah, we had none of those because of the fact that there was no fires in that cup. I'm brain dead. Okay. See, it says 5 because every 2.5 seconds it can use it. Every 1 is a 0.5 second. You may have learned something. Now, so if I go to Spring Cup, see this Fairy Wind, it's every 1 second. And you have to do it 5 times. So 5 seconds, you get to a Sludge. 7 seconds, you get to an Overheat. Then 3 times 4, what's that? 12. 3 times 6, what is that? Do the math. But yeah, basically, you can just get this base thing and then that and the. So, but yeah, you probably got it, but it's 18 to get to a flash cannon, and then 18 seconds to get to a flash cannon, and then it's 12 to get to here, and then I think it's actually like half, so it's like 9 here, and then like 6 there. But yeah, so here it's every 0.5 second you're hitting this, you're just spamming it, and you get to a sparkling area fast because it charges up fast because you hit super fast. And the sparkling aria does a bunch of damage. Ice Beam does a bunch of damage. Now the one thing is, Ice Beam is an elite TM. That's another thing. So now we're going to be going to the second team. Shadow Weezing is going to be our lead. You could swap out Shadow Weezing for Shadow Cradily and then just make Galarian Weezing normal Weezing. But they're going to have the same moveset, so you could make Shadow Galarian Weezing, normal Galarian Weezing. But again, this is going to be Fairy Wind, Sludge, and Overheat. And then next, it's going to be Cradily and Safe Swap. And you can use Shadow Cradily or normal Cradily, but I recommend only having one Shadow on this team. It could be Cradily or it could be Galarian Weezing. It's going to be Bullet Seed, Rock Tomb, and Grass Knot. So see, this is 1.5 times 4. 6 seconds to get to a Rock Tomb. 6 seconds to get to a Grass Knot. They go at the same time. So then next is a Jellicent. 6 seconds to get to a Surf. And 7.5 to get to a Shadow Ball. So it was Hex, Shadow Ball, and Surf for Jellicent. None being an elite TM, I don't think. Jealous. Yeah, no elite TMs on that team, which is a nice thing. Now, this team uses Overheat, which self-debuffs the attack on the Galarian Weezing, which you might be using Shadow Galarian Weezing, or you might be using normal Galarian Weezing. But Cradily can lower the opponent's attack, and you can, when you use Overheat, you can just switch out. So I think this team's pretty bulky, and with Galarian Weezing, it makes it bulkier. So when you use Shadow, it makes it less bulky, but if you use this team with no shadows, it's going to be really bulky. Now, if you use this team with all shadows, it's going to be not bulky. Like, if you see what I'm trying to get at, you'll know what I mean, but like, I think if you're going to use one shadow, use Shadow Weezing, but you could also use Shadow Credillia, I guess. I mean, using no shadows, I think, would work better than using a Shadow Credillia, if I'm going to be honest. Now, the next team would be a Galarian Weezing lead. Now, this Galarian Weezing lead is going to use Fairy Wind, Sludge, and Overheat. Now, next is an Among Us. It's going to use Astonish, Sludge Bomb, and Foul Play. Oh, I was trying to find what Pokemon the next one was. It's Jellicent, Hex, Surf, and Shadow Ball. Now, I'm thinking this is probably like the second best team, mainly because it counters the it is like the second best or third best team on actually no, I don't think this is the second best team, but this is one of the best teams, I will say. It does counter Weezing, Galarian, Ferrothorn, and Lapras well, though. Now, the team is very bulky, has great coverage, it's really safe, actually, and it's offensive. It also has a great counter to Weezing Galarian, like I said. Ferrothorn and Lapras, that team, the one at the beginning. Now, this next team is probably the second best on the list, and it's got Lapras for lead, Psywave, Sparkling Aria, and Ice Beam. So, Psywave, as we talked about, is a fast charging move. Sparkling Aria is damaging, and it gets charged up fast. Ice Beam is just for coverage, and it gets charged up fast. So, now, Klefki is going to be our safe swap. It's going to do Astonish, Foul Play, Play Rough. Now, I'm going into our last slot. It's going to be our Among Us closer, Astonish, Sludge Bomb, Foul Play. You could put it as a shadow. You also could. I do think this team's bulky, by the way, and it does neutral or super effective damage against like most of the Pokemon in the Spring Cup. This team also hits really hard. You can replace Among Us with Shadow Mawile. You'll do a little more damage but take more. And after you do that, you could replace like Klefki with the Among Us too. That's if you don't have a Klefki mainly, because I think Klefki's better, but you could replace Among Us with Klefki. I mean Klefki with Among Us, my bad. Now, have a good time, figure out which one of these teams is best for you. Peace out and bye.